Essentially, it means industrial minerals, construction materials, dimension stones, and semi-precious stones. When most people think of the mining industry, they think of metals sector, and maybe they think of precious stones. We're talking about commodities that are neither precious stones, nor metals, nor energy minerals. We're talking about commodities that are non-metallic. They include things like sand, gravel, gypsum, alabaster. And the term came about from economic geologists. They call them low-value minerals because the price that you can get per tonne of the commodity is relatively low. But that doesn't talk about the value of that commodity for an economic domestic development. It doesn't talk about the value of the commodity as a function of the amount that's produced. This is the majority of the mining sector. So we're talking about a neglected sector, and we felt that the term low value minerals and materials, it implies that the commodities are low value, and they're not low value at all. The sector that we're working on is something that the development community hasn't worked on in the past in any large scale, and we're through this program trying to focus on improving outcomes across sustainable and inclusive human development. We have 6 areas: environment, community, health and safety, geological data, entrepreneurship, market analysis and investment promotion, and conflict and community relations. And what we're trying to do is get some outcomes on the ground with small-scale miners, with medium-sized companies, with family businesses to improve those areas. We work with governments, we work with civil society, we work with the private sector, and mainly we do capacity building. So lots of training, lots of knowledge sharing, knowledge products. We do south-to-south knowledge exchange, training of trainers.
At the practice level, we have women's access to finance is hindered by lack of technical know-how. Many of the women indicated they don't know how to do feasibility studies, they don't know how to put up together a bankable project with the environmental impact assessments, geodata reserves, and so that became a huge barrier because formal microfinance institutions will not lend you money without this standard set of documents. Another major hindrance was actually collateral for financing, for accessing the finance. Many of the formal banking systems require substantive collateral, be it land, be it infrastructure or building. Many of the women do not have that access. So if they do not have land as collateral, why don't you use geodata reserves on the land to act as collateral? Because you know what is underneath the ground. If it is extracted, they will be able to pay back the loans.
The way we try and approach things is from a partnership perspective. This program may not have existed if it wasn't for having the perspective of the development recipients themselves design the programs, choosing topics that are going to lead to better outcomes for their own development. And I think that's a key benefit of our program being part of the African, Caribbean, Pacific group of states, and it is a welcome area to be working in.